6. The 6 big challenges of renovating an old house. That's what MTV is about today. Hi, thanks again for joining me. Today I'm going to go through what many renovators that buy old homes and are going to do work on them need to understand, because these are the big challenges that come about. They can cost you lots and lots of money, and a lot of people dive directly into the decorative side of it because they've got that dream in their vision and what they want it to build and what they want it to look like, and they can overlook these critical areas, and this is where people come unstuck, and this is what wipes out your budget. Sometimes it can double the amount of money you thought you were going to spend on a renovation. So here we go. Number 1, termites. When you bought an old house, the regulations in Australia now have changed dramatically from the 50s, 60s, 70s, even the 80s, of what the regulations were on the type of termite treatments that were used then and what they are now. You need to consider, do you still have a termite system in place that A, is functional, and B, is it still warranted? Because many of the termite systems that actually go out there will give you a warranty, and there's one that you can maintain and keep that ongoing. But if you haven't got that in place, you can be doing all this work and then find a couple of years later it comes unstuck, particularly timber homes. So ensure you check that one first. There are many pest experts out there that can help you with that on the termite activity. The second one is water. Understanding moisture that could be present in the home. Now that could be salt damp, that could be leaking showers, it could be broken pipes, it could be, sometimes I remember one of the old homes I renovated years ago, I walked in one morning just before we were about to put new floors in and could hear this dripping sound. And I actually found that I actually had a copper water unit in the ceiling, and it had broken and the ceiling had virtually fallen out and water was just dripping on the floors below. And I was very fortunate that it happened a fortnight before I started putting new carpets and flooring in. Otherwise, that would have been a very costly exercise. So get these things checked out. You learn from experience sometimes, but get these things checked out because moisture is very prevalent. I've named the 2 things that come unstuck in homes in Australia: termites and moisture damage. So they're the first 2 you need to understand. The third big challenge you need to look at and sometimes engage a building consultant for are foundation cracks, your footings. Understand that what you've bought actually is solid and sound and stable. Now many people will tell you, oh, you bought this in a really good area, the soil's stable up here, or it's sandy and there's no sort of movement here. But that doesn't mean that you haven't had a home that's been affected because of the fact that it's aged and the concrete foundation or the footings could it be affected, or worse still, there could be cracks in there that you haven't actually noted, and that could be with pavers on the outside, it could be landscaping up against it. So get these things checked out, because over time, depending on how the home's been built, it will impact you. So ensure you've checked out the foundation cracks. The fourth one is electricity. And here's a situation where, again, over time, requirements for the way electrical is done now is far different than what it may have been when the house that you've bought or about to renovate was built. And what can end up happening is you can come unstuck with situations where you've got a plan of where you want to build or extend, and find that actually you don't have the electrical that's either compliant or the sources that are going to be for what you need. This is the part where you need to get an electrical contractor. Again, a building consultant can help you, but an electrical contractor can give you the advice and assistance on what you need and get it checked over. That is a little bit of investment up front to pay for that, but it will save you thousands in the long run. The fifth one, which many people get wrong, and this can be a major health hazard for you and your family, is understanding about asbestos. Asbestos has been well documented in the media about how it'll kill people, and asbestos dust is a major one. Do not go into a renovation project and start ripping down walls, pulling out ceilings, and just going hell for leather, not knowing what could be in those walls, what those walls potentially could be made of. There are situations, I know in my companies that I deal with all the time, things like roof coatings. Sometimes there's old roof membranes that actually were made of asbestos impregnated with bitumen. I've seen linings and wall sheets that people think are cement sheet or plasterboard, and they are asbestos. Old corrugated roofs, fences. There could be hidden ways of asbestos in your old home that you are not prepared to understand or not qualified to understand, and that's natural. but experts will know that. So it's important to have that checked out and consider it, because it may well be that you've inherited something that no one's actually detected, and asbestos is actually not dangerous until it's broken. And so it could well be that you've been sold this house. It should be on the asbestos register if there is asbestos known in there, but don't take risks. You'll find with asbestos registers, primarily, more people document it for external areas like roofs, fences, etc., facades, but a lot of people don't understand where asbestos could lie within the home, or things, as I mentioned before, like old flat roof membranes where it could be impregnated asbestos sheeting with bitumen. And that, when you start to pull these things apart, that asbestos dust is hazardous, okay, and can be fatal. So don't bugger around with that. You might have children in the house, you might have people that are helping you out with the renovation. You've got a duty of care to ensure that you take that responsibility. Check it out first. If there is asbestos detected in your home, there are professionals that will qualified to remove it safely off site, but don't go starting to renovate and then finding you detected afterwards, and you may have spent a whole lot of money in your renovation and that's now gone to waste because you must by law then have to remove that. So get that checked out from the start. It's a real important one, because they are the horror stories that we hear out there about asbestos. And the sixth and final challenge with renovating old homes are the windows. These days, with energy efficiency and the way we look at how we can block out sun, and also help with the and how we can help with maintaining the warmth inside a home during the winter months, it all comes down to the windows. Now, you might want a single pane window, which can be very, very difficult to find, because these days the window compliance is very different, and the way everyone's looking for them in new homes. So you need to do the search on that, or do the search on whether you can actually maintain the look of that old type window, but using a modern type design that can have greater noise and insulative properties. So with temperature control, really important with the windows side, because you'd be surprised how much heat and cold is generated through windows and door sills. And so that one there is what you need to focus on, because that's the challenge with old homes. You can make them turn into a real beauty, but when you've bought an old place, if you don't look for these things up start, it'll slice your budget impeccably, to the point that you'll find that you thought you actually had a number in mind, and that could be 20, 30, 50%, or as I said before, double what you had budgeted for. So again, plan from the start, and if you need that support or help, the Monsta pros are there along the way. For termites, for dampness, for electrical, for your footings and foundations, that advice and support can be there from the start, and understanding how to guide you to save you money and time on getting that right before you get into that dream home. Looking forward to seeing your renovation dream and maybe what you're planning on doing to come our way. Please throw those photos to us. Don't forget to subscribe to MTV and pass this on to someone who you think may get some value out of their next renovation. Until next time, I'll see you in another episode of MTV.